Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Sekiro Shadows Die Twice complete walkthrough. And this is episode 3, which I have named Taking Down Gyobu. And Gyobu is the first main boss of this game. And the big difference between main bosses and mini bosses is that you cannot perform death blows on any of the main bosses. And they also drop memories instead of prayer beads, and memories enhance your attack power. But before we take them on, we're gonna go over his perilous attacks. The first one is the spear throw, which you can dodge by just moving to the side. And the other one is when he puts his spear down into the ground, and when he does that, just back up. And this boss can be very frightening the first time you face off against him, because he is a huge guy on a really huge horse. First time I took him on, I was like, what the fuck is this guy? And this fight is, he is a lot of bark and not so much bite. Firecrackers work very well in this fight. There is a cooldown in between the times you can use them. When you use them, you will scare his horse, so it will rear up on its hind legs and you will be able to put in a few punches in between. It does not work as well in the second phase. Then you will only be able to maybe do 2 hits at most. So if you do it in phase 2, do 2 quick swipes and immediately prepare to block, because he will retaliate. But he does have quite long attack animations, so whenever you feel the need to heal, just back up. If he's in a combo, back up, do a quick heal and then go in again. And he can cause a little bit of problem first time. I think this fight is made a little bit more difficult by the fact that there is a lot going on. You have the horse, which doesn't pose a super big threat. It can kick you in the face if you walk straight in behind it like this. Thank you. Never walk straight in behind a horse, because you run the risk of getting hooves straight to the face. And in episode 2 we also unlocked the grappling hook attack. You saw there that there was a green marker over his head. Whenever that shows up, you can use your grappling hook to go in and close the distance. And if you have unlocked the grappling hook attack, you will be able to do 2 swipes in mid-air, which is great for bonus damage. But as you can see, I am not playing this fight super good. I am taking quite a lot of punishment. But that is all on me. That was me being sloppy when I recorded this. But also, as you can see, this boss is rather forgiving. The only thing you need to watch out for is never get greedy. Whenever you feel the need to heal, put distance in between the both of you. And if it goes into one of his attack combos, that is a great time to heal. But now it's time to end this. We close the distance, do the 2 swipes, we do a death blow, we do a second death blow, because that is a thing about some of the bosses. When you go in for the death blow, you have to press the button twice, because it is a bit more dramatic that way. And it happened to me on my practice run, I think. At a boss towards late game, I did the death blow and I had forgotten you had to do 2 of them. So the boss like revived, and I was looking into my notes and I was writing down that you're supposed to kill him, because I did quite extensive notes during the recording or during my practice run for this game. And I didn't notice that he had revived, so I looked up at my TV and he was kicking my ass fast. So always be aware of that, do that second death blow if the marker shows up. Don't relax until you get the Shinobi execution or you see the boss fall down, basically. And over there is a vendor that we are gonna pay a visit, but first we are gonna head out to the area we came from before we went into Gyobu's boss arena. Because that vendor sells a gourd seed and it costs 1,000 gold, which is quite expensive, if you ask me. But out here there is a heavy coin purse, which will give us 500 gold, and I have a few light coin purses as well. And one important tip that I'm not quite sure if I have mentioned this before, but it is quite vital, or it will cause it will cause you a lot less grief if you take this into consideration. Before you go into boss fights, mini bosses or main bosses, always go to a vendor. If you have a lot of money, either buy coin purses if they have any to sell. Every vendor has a set amount, and when you have bought all of them, they will not restock. But otherwise, spend your money. Buy spirit emblems, buy sugars, whichever ones you fancy using. I am big fan of Akko's sugar that boosts your attack, and Gachin's sugar that makes you more stealthy. But we are gonna grind in a place here in Ashina Castle, and when you grind there, you usually get so many Gachin sugars, so you will never need to buy them throughout the rest of the game. But try to spend your money. And it's always good to buy spirit emblems. That is something I've talked about before. Because spirit emblems are a consumable. You will pick them up, sometimes enemies drop them, sometimes you find them out in the world. But you can buy them at all the sculptor's idols. And here at the beginning of the game, they only cost 10 gold each. So stock up. And there was the heavy coin purse I was talking about. And also, the second, even more important thing is to try to always having achieved a skill point just before you go into a boss fight. Because that is also something I mentioned, that when you die, you lose half the skill point or half the experience you have accumulated towards the next skill point. And for every skill point you get, they cost a little bit more to get. And there are some great places to grind, and if you only want to complete up to a next skill point, it will usually be very quick. But here we're gonna talk to Ishin, and he is gonna give us a little mission. He wants you to kill some rats, so make sure you accept his mission, and you get the rat description. And after you've talked to him, we're gonna head up to the top level of this tower. And here we pick up a light coin purse, which will make us even closer to having the 1,000 gold to get, or to buy the gourd seed, was what I was gonna say. So we traverse these beams so we can get up to top level. And we are gonna pick up a prayer bead in this chest. There are a total of 40 prayer beads in this game. Most of them are dropped by mini bosses, but some of them can be bought. I think there are 2 you can buy, and some of them can be found in chests hidden throughout the world. And I think I mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. Of course, in this walkthrough I will show you how to get all of them, and also all 10 gourd seeds. We have picked up, what is it, 3? No, 2 thus far. We're gonna get the 3rd one from this vendor. But I realize when I get up here, I only have 80 gold on me and I have 900 in my inventory. So we are gonna have to get 20 extra. 20 extra gold, or 20 more gold. If you want to, I'm gonna run over across this battlefield and kill a soldier twice, because he drops 11 gold every time he dies. if you want to, feel free to sell something you have in your inventory. I recommend selling the ceramic shards. That is something I talked about in episode 1. I am not a big fan of that item. Maybe it's me that's stupid and don't know how to use them properly, but I have never found them useful. Because you can't throw them freely. Or you can't aim freely where to throw them. It seems you can just throw them at enemies or next to them, and yeah, I think they're a useless item. You may like them, and if you find a great use for them, feel free to let me know in the comments. I know that a friend of mine who also played this game, he said he used them quite a lot from time to time, so maybe it's just me that haven't mastered the skill of using them. But now that we have 102 gold, we're gonna run back to the vendor and we're gonna buy a gourd seed. And the coin purses. There are two ways to use them. Either you can go into your inventory like I'm doing right now and just choose the coin purse and the amount you want to use and use them, and they will convert into gold. Or you can go to the vendor and sell them. You will get the same amount of money either way. It doesn't really matter, it's just down to personal preference. But now we're gonna go in here and we're gonna purchase the gourd seed, which is over there. So we pick that up. And now we can venture further into Ashina Castle. Especially since Gyobu, the gatekeeper, is now dead. And we have quite a busy episode ahead of us. We're gonna take down 2 more mini-bosses. And we're gonna pick up at least 1 more gourd seed. And before you move in, of course, enhance physical attributes. Because we have 4 prayer beads. And we convert that into a prayer necklace, which permanently enhances your life bar and your posture meter. And I'm also gonna unlock a Shinobis Karma body, which will allow you to have 16 spirit emblems equipped instead of 15. You can reach a maximum level of 20, which I will do because going further into this game, I'm gonna use prosthetic tools more and more against bosses, and the spirit emblems, as we have already talked about, are ammunition for your prosthetic tools. And there are also some attacks, special fighting skills that consume spirit emblems when you use them. My favorite attack, which is the Mortal Draw, which we will unlock further on in the game, can still be used after you run out of spirit emblems, which I think is awesome. But now it's time to take on the Blazing Bull. And the main thing to watch out for is this. When he charges, he puts his head down and lifts it up. The very second he lifts up his head, that's when you wanna block. If you get off a perfect parry there, you will stun him and be able to do 2 punches or 2 swings before you run away. And this guy with the spear, he followed me into this arena. It happens sometimes. Sometimes they will follow you, sometimes you will go in and the boss fog will show up without him being able to follow you. Hopefully you'll get a little bit more lucky than I do, or than I did. But this bull will run around, try to put distance in between you and bait this charging attack. I am not super good at timing this, but as all animals or all animal bosses, firecrackers are great against this bull. So I show off the parry attack or the parry technique here at the beginning, and then I'm gonna go over to using the firecrackers instead. Because I think it is a lot easier, it's a lot more forgiving, and it feels like it gives you a larger window to attack him. And since that burning thing is on his head, you will take fire damage throughout this fight if you get too close. if you start burning or your fire meter fills up, use your red metal gourd to douse the flames or use dousing powder. But I think it does quite little damage over time, so if you're feeling confident your life bar is almost full and he is almost dead, just run with it. Just ignore it. But down he went. It is also one of those quite hysteric fights. I've seen some people that like to run around this arena at the beginning, so he trashes all the buildings in here, so you have a bigger area to move around. You don't get clipped on those fences or whatnot. But two soldiers are gonna show up. The first one does a thrust, so he punished that with Mikiri, and then we have his little sword friend. And I just took that sword straight to the face, like a man. But when we go through this gate, there is a little old lady sitting on this bridge. Here we have her. Hey, little old lady. Make sure you talk to her, because this will allow us to get a key item later on. If you don't talk to her and progress through the game, she will disappear. You will still be able to get the key item, but you're gonna have to wait. So make sure to talk to her now. It only takes a few seconds and it will make it a bit more effective later on.
I'm sure you are all aware already.
And here we have our next mini-boss. A general surrounded by 4 guys with rifles. So what I do is I crouch up to just around this rock and I start taking out his rifle guys with the shurikens. If you stay crouched and you stay at quite a distance, no one will notice you. If they notice you, just run away and come back, because you want to take out all his riflemen before you start tackling this boss. His name is Suki Matsumoto, I think. And he fights exactly the same as Tenzin Yamauchi that we took on in episode 2. He has all the same attacks, and we are gonna use the same strategy on him as we did on Yamauchi, as long as I can get up on these bloody roofs. Because we want to start this fight with a death blow, so we cut his life bar in half. So we just lock onto him and we jump and we take down half his health after soaking up all the gold. Down we go. There it goes. And I have sped up this fight because in episode 2 you saw exactly the same strategy. I'm gonna use this. I used the very same strategy here. The only difference is that we are fighting on a staircase. It is a little bit tighter. So make sure don't run past him when he's too close to the wall, because you might get caught by one of his swings. So try to keep him in the middle of the staircase. And then it's just same old bait and punish, bait and punish. And also remember, he does have the double swing that Yamauchi had. So make sure you don't see one swing, try to go in for a hit and take the other hit straight to the face. But if that happens, just back off, heal, and go in again. And I always like to run counterclockwise. That is just a force of habit on my behalf. But I also think I like to tell myself that he swings in a counterclockwise motion, or from right to left. So maybe if you get close, you have a bigger chance of avoiding the hit, since you are moving in the same direction as his sword. But that was fun, wasn't it? Very easy boss fight. Same thing as Yamauchi, just a slightly different arena. And now we're gonna go and talk to a vendor who wants our help. And we are gonna help him because that will allow us to buy another gourd seed off of him later on. And he is located down here behind this little wall. And he talks about not being friends with the guards, that they are after him, so we are gonna agree to help him and kill all the guards in the surrounding area. And I think there are 7 guards in total. And this can be tricky, because there are 4 guards up here, there are 3 down the staircase, and there is also a wolf. But this is a time, if you feel that you are getting overrun by enemies, that they are swarming you, feel free to run away, heal up, wait for them to lose track of you, de-aggro, start going back to their patrol patterns. Use the roofs to your advantage. You can go down, kill one of them, run away, flee up to the roofs, go back again. There is no shame in doing that. I take them on, I will get fucked. Actually, I die once here, but there is no punishment for dying once. You always have that free revive. And as long as you don't go back to a sculptor's idol, the enemies will not reset. If you go back and rest, all enemies will reappear and you will have to kill all 7 of them again. But feel free to run away and wait for them to just chillax a little bit and go in. And since I had 3 guys chasing me, I like to use the shuriken, soften them up a little bit as best I can, because taking on multiple foes in this game can be a nightmare. It does get easier later on, because we will get a skill that every time you do a death blow, you will regain some health. And that is an amazing skill to have in this game, because that will allow you to play more aggressively. Go in, get in their face, and as you get better at deflecting, you will build up those death blows much faster. But that was the last of them. So we go back and we're gonna talk to him again, and he's gonna move to the dilapidated temple, where we are gonna buy the gourd seed from him later on. But now we are gonna do what I like to call the suicide run. And I call it the suicide run because I almost always die once when I do this. There is a kite enemy that I suck at timing, getting past him. If you haven't talked to the little old lady yet, talk to her now. As you saw, there was only like 3 seconds. Make sure to do it. But now we're gonna head up on these roofs, and we're gonna go up to that big castle building in the middle. So we traverse this place. You can skip going down for that loot because it's just a ceramic shard, and that sucks. But it's good to have if you want to sell it later on, if you're short stacked with money. And getting up here can be a little bit tricky. There's hard to find ledges you can latch onto. But you see a guy up on a kite in the left corner right there. He is gonna kill me. Ignore this guy, just run and keep an eye on him. If you jump at the right time, he will pass under you. And I think that if you stay down towards the edge of the roof, he will miss you. But just revive, run past this guy, ignore him, go around this corner, go into this window, and you're safe. They will not follow you in here. And then we can open this chest, and we will pick up another gourd seed. And then we go over to the sculptor's idol. Make sure you rest, as you always should do whenever you get to the sculptor's idol, and get everything reset. And that is the end of episode 3. So I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.